Hey everybody. I just want to like dance along and listen to the rest of that music. That's good music.
It is. How are
Well,
you?
good, thank you.
Hey, everybody.
I'm at my sister's place today, which is why I have a different background. I'm a little backlit, which is why I'm a little bit in shade. How are you today, Laura?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm doing good. Doing good. How about yourself?
Fantastic. I'm pretty good. It's funny when I travel, like traveling here to my sister. Um, on the way, I nap and I sleep in my car, and I'll probably do that because it's a long drive from where I live, and takes a couple of days round trip. And but I'm so used to that. I slept better in my car, like curled up on the back seat in my car last night than I did after touring for 2 months and then getting home and being faced with this California King large comfortable bed. It's just like, what do I do with that? Like in the middle of this big flat surface. I haven't been sleeping. Oh no, police are coming. Um, yeah. So I'm doing okay. At least I think the police came and stopped the lawnmower guy.
Oh, okay.
So that's good. We have better sound in the background. Anyway, thank you everybody for who's tuning in. I'm sorry I'm not looking. There's my camera. There's my screen, which is why I'm looking down a bit. But thank you very much. Now we're going to talk about being prepared today. And in our lives, often, I mean, certainly I look back at things that have happened in my life, decisions I've made, and I think, if only in hindsight, I could go back and do things differently. I think that's probably a natural thing for a lot of people to think. And a lot of the time, that's just life. You can't prepare for some of the random things
Not
that are
always.
going to happen to you.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, you can prepare if you're wise enough, I think, to consider possibilities to look into certain subjects. And when I look at you and your wall there behind you, that shows me that you're somewhat prepared for some possibilities.
Some possibilities somewhat. I'm not 100%. I'll admit it.
What are those certificates on your wall back there, Laura?
Well, this wall behind me kind of represents, this is the beginning. This is my first degree and my first instructors being certified as a martial art instructor in the International Hapkido Karate Association certification. And this is my last degree that I got, which placed me to be in sixth degree, which has taken me a very, very long time to get. I have one more degree to go, I can become Grandmaster.
Okay.
I've been doing this for a long time.
You're a sixth degree black belt instructor in Hapkido.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about martial arts here, and self-defense, and you are prepared for bad things that might happen.
That's right.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm also a black belt. I'm a black belt in Shotokan Karate. I very slowly sparred with Laura in person about a month ago, and she nearly broke my arm.
The number 4?
I don't know what you call it.
It was called the Cobra.
Okay.
Where you went straight down.
Yeah. So we were just playing in slow motion, but yes. She very impressive. And we're going to talk about being prepared for that sort of thing in today's show. We're also going to talk about being prepared for disasters, other types of disasters, because that's relevant, and being prepared for disasters in our world, which is moving into some pretty dangerous territory. There are climate disasters that we could that maybe we should be prepared for. there are climate disasters that maybe we should be preventing against. That's a form of preparedness, and that relates to our alien friends. Also, we're going to talk about the messages that our alien friends are giving to us, that, you know, there's a few different ways in which we can be prepared for possibilities that are coming, and this, you know, using astral projection and remote viewing, we can look into the future. We can see some of the possibilities, the probabilities that are coming our way. And climate change, nuclear weapons, bombs going off, civil unrest, collapse of law and order in societies around the world. These are all things that we're kind of accelerating in that direction.
Workplace violence.
Yeah, you know, some things are big, some things are small, some things are existential, some things not so much. And, you know, I quite often talk to people who will tell me everything's getting better. Humans are ascending. But then quite often I will talk to people that will tell me, no, everything's collapsing, society is collapsing. And the truth is, it's a bit of both. And it's a bit like a glass half empty, half full situation. And some people are seeing the glass half full, some people are seeing the glass half empty. In my opinion, the glass that we're moving to in the future is pretty empty. And hopefully, Laura, you and me, and hopefully the people watching this show are going to be the bit that's full. And maybe by looking at this situation, our situation here today, maybe looking at the possibilities of the glass half full and the glass half empty, or mostly empty, a little bit full, we're going to be able to help prepare people a little bit for what is coming.
Yeah.
Let's start off with what we were talking about before, martial arts, because this show doesn't have to all be about one specific, being prepared for one specific thing. I personally, sorry, I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm going to let you take over in a minute.
Oh, no, you don't want that. Where's your shaker?
Well, you know, when I was at university and I walked past I'd been out pubbing, that's what we do in England. And I walked past another pub on my way back to my university hall of residence. And I walked past a group of about 10 men. And as I walked past, I could tell that something not so great was just about to happen by the way they were looking at me and talking. And as I carried on walking up this hill, on a pavement along the side of a road, these men started walking after me. And I decided now would be a good time to start jogging. And I heard their footsteps getting louder and stronger, and I could tell they were running after me. So I ran up this hill. Now, thankfully, I've always been relatively good at running. I ran up the hill, and at the top of the hill, there's this large open park on one side of the road. And I ran into that park and the lights were off. When I say the lights were off, there weren't many street lights. There weren't many overhead lights. And I ran into the park and ducked down on the floor into the darkness. And I could see, yeah, and they couldn't find me. But after that, you know, I was a little bit shaken. And I decided, let's learn some martial arts. Okay. And so I had actually learned a little bit of karate before that, but I hadn't got very far. But I got back into it, and I continued training up to be a black belt. And then after that, I had one or two situations where it was good that I had prepared myself for the possibility of being attacked. And I will tell you a couple of situations. One time I was out pubbing again. I walked out of the pub and there was a wall on the other side of a sort of a little street there. And a couple of my friends, female friends, were sitting up there. They'd been pubbing as well. And the two or three guys had walked up to them and were being inappropriate with them, and they were sitting up on the wall and they had skirts on, and these guys were being inappropriate. And I came along and pushed one person aside, one of the men aside, and said, "Hey, no, you're not going to do that. That's not okay." And they backed off. And a minute later, they returned with two or three other friends. And I found myself in a situation where I had the wall behind me, the girls behind me. I had 5 men confronting me in an arc, in a circle, and they were not happy with what I did. But you know what? I knew I was okay. I knew I was okay because I was a black belt. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay,
well,
kick, punch, kick.
Yeah.
You know,
you're assessing them, and you're looking at them, and you're seeing what is on them for you to be able to have the escape route to get out of there. Yeah, that's what martial arts does for you.
And they were swearing at me and vile language, and one of them went like that for my face, and it wasn't so much a punch as a, you know, I'm gonna grab your face or something. And I just did Aggie block quickly and stood there looking at them. And they got the feeling from my stance, from the way I reacted to that, the way I easily blocked a hand coming at me, they knew that they weren't going to get out of that situation. They weren't going to get out of that situation unless they backed off. And so they sent a bit more verbal abuse at me, and then they backed off. That was me being prepared. So if I'm going to recommend something to these people, if I'm going to recommend something to our audience members, the first thing I would recommend is you never know if you might be in a situation like that. And I recommend learning a martial art. And there's different martial arts out there. For me, it was karate, because karate is powerful, immediate, to the point you basically put somebody down. But there's different options if you're not so much into punching people. Things like Aikido are good, where you can sort of grab people and manipulate people and use their weight against them to throw them, wrestle them to the ground. That's my little bit of input on all of this. Now, Laura, why did you learn martial arts? Mm-hmm. And if you're comfortable,
I'm comfortable
telling us, and what martial arts would you recommend to people?
Well, first I'm going to say this. Martial arts isn't easy, okay? It is challenging a lot. There's a lot of training you need to do. So if you're not wanting to actually take martial arts, my biggest suggestion to you, the most important thing I think you should do is take self-defense classes. You can go through, there are places that will provide this, but you have to understand, and I say this wholeheartedly, you've got to practice. You can't just learn one time, because practice helps you in the bad moments when you're under the gun, so to speak. You can react without thinking. So that's where that practice comes in. Also, the practice raises you up into this level of confidence, which that's what these guys were experiencing from you that were attacking you. They sensed something was a little bit more about you, and they weren't quite sure what it was. Even though you may have done this, they may go, oh, maybe he knows something, but there was still more about you. And that was because martial arts helped you develop this confidence. And this confidence radiates out. And this is why we always say martial arts is great for children, especially if those are being bullied. I have kids I've taught. The parents have come to me my kid is being bullied all the time. Well, given a year, I don't hear any more about bullying. I end up asking, and then what we find out is nobody picks on them anymore. And we're kind of trying to figure out why. It's because they carry themselves with confidence. Being bullied most of the time is they give them bodily gestures to be picked on. So that's, I'm timid, so I'm going to pick on you. So if you don't want to do martial art classes, that is a commitment. Usually just for a degree, it's 3 years. That's for a black belt. I suggest the self-defense classes. Men and women, trust me, you will. It's worth knowing, having the knowledge with that. Now, how I got into it was my first husband. He sent my son and my daughter to martial arts for Hapkido, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't mind my kids doing it, but it's a long story with that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it too. Since you're going to put them in, I'm going to do it too. And I did it out of spite, to be honest with you. Well, one day I was hooked. I was hooked. I couldn't believe that I fell in love with something that fast, and then I also discovered within a week how much I'm going to have to work at it, because I was not athletic at all. I could kick high, but there was no balance and there was no power and there was no understanding as to what I was doing. So that is why I got into it. And my kids, they went all the way up to their first degree, and then of course they dropped out. But I have continued through my life. I've been in it 28 years. And I teach it, and it's changed my life. When I say it changed my life, it put me out of where I used to walk around with no confidence at all, where I would literally walk in public with my head down, looking over my eyebrow. And I'd be afraid to turn my head. I just was never confident. And over a course of time, I began to get more and more confident. I started performing in public. I started actually doing other stuff. I got into the corporate security work, and then it went on up to law enforcement. And then even in law enforcement, I was in the DT doing tactical defense, training them and challenging each other on what the sheriff wanted us to do. And it was fun. It's changed my life. I've been in movies with this. I have gone I've gone and done all kinds of unique things that normally I would have never done before. So yes, if anything, do self-defense and try a martial art class out. Figure out what you want to do. There's so many styles. Now, Hapkido, a lot of people, I didn't even know what it was when I first started. I was never even heard of it before. It is one of the youngest kind of arts, the old art, but it's young. It is 5 styles integrated into one. It's like a hybrid art, okay? But they don't say that. It is karate, kempo, judo, aikido, and kung fu. It's just so much in it, and it's hard and it's soft and it's well balanced. And I have to say, to me, this is my opinion, it is one of the best arts you can get into, because you can go up against the karate fighter and know what to do. You can go up against a taekwondo fighter, you can handle it. You can go against that, even a Muay Thai fight. I've even done Muay Thai. I've fought in the ring. I've been a kickboxer. I've done all kinds of stuff. So again, it changes you. But then it also does something just like it did for you with the 5 guys. I've been a victim of crime, and I was a first degree. I was attacked at 12 o'clock in the afternoon in July, and many years ago, and it was in my car. And the guy tried to abduct me and also steal my money as well. But I knew he was going to kill me. I knew I was never going to see anybody again. And he was very sneaky. He was smart, and I was not. My first time having to actually use martial arts in a very, very violent situation wasn't Bruce Lee. And I tell everybody that. Everybody immediately, when they hear this, they go, oh, she did Bruce Lee. Whoa! No, I did no hitting, no kicking. I didn't do anything. Okay? I complied. I used my brain. Martial arts taught me how to think without emotion, getting involved in that emotion, that fear, right? That happens right away when you are startled, like I was. I picked up my paycheck, and it's at a mall, Patrick Henry Mall. I picked up my paycheck. I'm in a long dress that goes to my ankle with 3-inch heels, and I have a purse on my shoulder, and I'm walking along, not paying attention at all. Got into my vehicle. It is so hot. The vehicle on the inside, was what, 170, 200 degrees, it felt like. So I turned the engine on, rolled that window down. There's a car in front of me and 2 cars beside me. So the only way out is backwards. This guy rushes in my window and puts a gun right into a barrel right into my eye. And I thought it was a joke at first. I screamed really loud and also thought it was a joke. I mean, it caught me so off guard. Then realization came in. And I looked at him and I could see everything. I can see his eyes. I could see his nose, his mouth. I even watched the gesture of his mouth, which was pretty creepy, by the way, and licking his lips and doing weird stuff. And then as he's speaking to me and he's got the gun in my eye, I realized to save my life, I've got to calm him down. I got to calm me down. I got to calm him down. So I, instead of, oh my God, right? Right. I went, okay, what do you need? What can I do for you?
Okay.
And it made him calm down. Then he said, I want your money. And I said, okay. I had my hand on the wheel. And I said, I have to take my hand. I had to talk him through what I had to do. I have to take my hand off the wheel and go in my purse. And he said, blankety, blankety, blank, and go ahead. And as I did that, I was able to observe everything. How do I know that it was 12 p.m. that I'm being robbed? It was because I looked at that clock. And I also looked up and realized, I can't go forward. I also realized I can't go out the side door here. I'm strapped in, literally in.
Yeah.
I got to.
So how did you survive that situation? What did you do?
I was sitting there. I reached, gave him the money. He said, blankety blank, don't go nowhere. He gets around, walks around my car. Now, most people will do, right? I didn't do that. And I owe this to martial arts. I went, where is he going? What is he doing? And I seen him. He's walking around and he's approaching the passenger door. And that's when I knew right then and there. He's going to kill me. He's going to do awful things. He's going to kill me. That's what's going to happen.
He's going to get in the car with you. Yep. He's going to force you to drive somewhere. Yep. And then anything goes.
Yep. He rape me, whatever. That was what his plans were. And as he comes here, just about reaching that door, I said, if I'm going to die, and that's something else what amazed me as a human being, that we can make these decisions in such dramatic situations. I chose to die. If I'm going to die, I'm dying here.
Yeah.
I'm going to die in this parking lot so that my mom, my dad, my family can have my body. They can have closure. I know they're going to be upset of the situation, but they're going to have closure. I'm going to be found. And that's a piece that I needed. In that moment, I actually was thinking all of this. I opened up my door and got out and started running in the dress and that heels. I'm running and I'm going, this is what it feels like to get shot? And I look and I'm trying to feel the pain. And I turn and I look to see where he's at. He's running off in the other direction.
Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't, I guess, expecting that to happen. I ran up to the first pedestrian I saw walking up to the mall, which was a mom and a little boy. And I grabbed both of them literally almost picked them up off the ground and said, I have just been robbed. Get inside with me. And I rushed them and scared them to death. Rushed into the mall. The first store was HR Block for taxes. And I rushed in there and yelled, I've just been robbed. And that is when I lost it. When I knew I was safe, I emotionally lost it then. But martial arts held me together in that moment. I have to say, as a victim, and if anyone is a victim, please, please, please get help, get assistance to get through it. Because even though I seem to be tough and everything, I'm female, I'm emotional, I have feelings, I get scared, and I had a hard time getting through that. So what I ended up doing was going through victim witness and protection, getting advice from them. And also, because I couldn't leave my home for 2 weeks, I couldn't go to work for 2 weeks. I couldn't get in near a car for 2 weeks because of that. Yeah. I was violated in such a way from that. It took everything from me. But other martial arts members in our community got involved, and a lot of grandmasters reached out to me and told me their stories. One was robbed in an airport by knife point. He handed them the money and let them go. Mm-hmm. Another one was robbed by gangs. And he too just dropped everything and handed it. None of them did anything. None of them punched or kicked. They did none of that stuff. And I know a lot of people go, well, wait a minute. Shouldn't you have punched or kicked? Trust me, if I could have, I would have.
Yeah.
But every scenario, and that we do gun defense, knife defense. We do hand-to-hand combat. This is what I train in. And here's the gun. The whole time I've got a steering wheel in front of me. I'm thinking, I can do this. I can do it. Nope, I'll get killed. I can do it. Nope, I get killed. I can't go backwards because why? He'll pull the trigger. He will pull the trigger. I will get killed. So martial arts helped me think. And over the years of doing the martial arts, I now literally walk around and go, what if? That's my thing. Yeah. I always say, what if? What if this could happen? If I go to the store, I know now a lot of things, what not to do. The big number one thing I didn't do when I went up there is when I was walking to my car, I didn't look. I was too into my cell phone, I'm all dressed up, being girly. I shouldn't have done that. I should not have done that. I should not. I should have approached my vehicle, looking at my vehicle. I should have looked around my vehicle as I approach it. Actually looked behind the wheel. And that's where he was. He was on the opposite side of my vehicle, hiding behind the rear wheel.
Wow.
So I couldn't see him. And the moment, I was a prime target. I was the perfect victim. I truly was.
Well, Laura, first of all, I'm sorry you had to go through that, but secondly, wow, you handled that so well. When I was training as a martial artist, my black belt instructor, who looked like the scariest being ever on the planet, he never smiled. He always had this serious, mean expression, and he was so tough. You did not mess with him. You did exactly what he tells you to jump off a 10-story building. You better do it. You better do it. And he once, with his stern face, came up in front of everybody in the training session. He said, "Okay, here's a situation. Somebody pulls a gun at you like this. What do you do? What's your method of defense?" I'm saying it wrong. I don't think it was a gun. But it was basically, here's somebody, I think it was with a knife, they're just about to attack you. What's the best form of self-defense? And different people in our different students in the martial arts session, they were calling out Aggie block, then Kikomi, and this sort of thing, punches, kicks, different things. And he said, okay, well, I'm going to show you the best form of defense. And he nodded his head for the guy to come at him with a knife. And the instructor, he turns around, he runs away. And it's really comical. None of us were expecting it, but he made the point. He made the point that the best form of self-defense, I guess it doesn't work against a gun, unless you're, maybe in your situation it did with a car in between you, but is to run away. And there is absolutely, that is what you did, and that is what worked. Am I right in saying, maybe you can just tell me briefly, because we're going to move on to other things, but learning martial arts, learning self-defense gives you confidence, gives you confidence to think clearly, more clearly in a situation than you would have done otherwise, and therefore gave you the confidence to figure out what's the best way to deal with the situation.
Yes, it gave me the ability to control my emotions at the time of an attack, to be able to think, because most of us cannot think when we're struck suddenly by something dramatic like that, or any disaster for that matter. A lot of people panic, and that's the wrong approach. You really need to have some things prepared within you, and I really highly recommend self-defense. I truly, truly do. For males, for females, for your children, you need to try it. It's not for everyone in martial arts, but a self-defense course is very, very informative, and it will help you, especially we're coming up on the holiday seasons, guys.
Yeah.
There's guys going to be out there trying to, rob people and take even cyber issues. And, so it's really good to be smart, to have the knowledge.
I want to jump in as well. You said that it's good for children that are being bullied. And I would say absolutely. But it's also possible we have parents out there who have children who are bullies, who are not disciplined. And I will tell you, as a karate instructor, send those bullies to the martial artists as well, because martial arts is not just about how do you beat somebody up. Martial arts is a very spiritual practice that is based in self-respect and not attacking first. Mm-hmm. It is a form of self-defense, and it can be a very disciplining practice for even the bullies to learn. And I would say with that, see how it goes. See how it goes. See how it changes your child. If it does make them want to go out and just attack people better, it's good to stop. But in my experience, that's not what happens, because they have to stand in the same position like this while the instructor moves up and down talking to them. Yeah. They have to do little meditations at the end. It's very spiritual. Mm-hmm. Yeah, control, self-control. Yes, that's it. And they learn that respect, and they learn how to interact with their fellow martial arts students in a way that's respectful.
Right.
But I before we finish this subject, I have to just tell you one more encounter I had.
Okay.
Walking back late at night with one of my friends who was female along Oxford Road in Reading. To my left is the road of busy traffic. To my right, a few buildings, industrial buildings, shops, and there's a low wall coming up to my right, and there's a guy sitting on the wall. And as I look up, and I'm doing what you just explained, you're aware of your surroundings, and I was aware of my surroundings, and I was aware of that guy. I was walking to the left of the girl, and the first thing I did, because I usually walk next to the road. I like to be next to the road so that other people are safer. I changed sides with the girl about 20 meters away from this guy, because I could sense that maybe something wasn't quite right. And I'm walking along, and I just sort of glance up, and he's looking at us, and I knew that it's very likely something would happen. And as we approached him, this guy leapt into us, and his plan was to push us into the road. And I honestly, I don't know why, but he was going to push us into heavy traffic, whether that would give him an opportunity to just do something aggressive for his own benefit, for his own, I don't know, warped sense of what gives somebody satisfaction, or to then take our possessions. I don't know, but that's what he did. And I was ready, and I stepped into a solid stance and agate block, and he just bounced off my arm. He bounced backwards off my arm. He sort of stumbled. There was a low wall behind him. He looked into the wall, fell over the wall, landed on his back on the other side, and as I walked past, I just sort of looked at him like that. I looked over my shoulders like, you better not stand up and try that again. And we just carried on walking. And, you know, he waits until we're out of distance, then starts swearing at us. But that's yeah, being prepared in every way you can is a good idea. Now, I want to talk about something that is controversial next, a couple of controversial things. One of them, I want to let people know I'm talking about this because I care about people. I care about people's health. And I see a lot of people around me getting ill from various different things. And I don't need to go into too much detail here, but I a few years ago went to the CDC website, where I did some hunting and searching, and you can find a list of the top 10 reasons why people die in this country. And about 5 of the top 6 reasons why people die in this country is because of the food they eat.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
That is something that can be prevented. You can prevent yourself from dying of the number 1 cause of death in most countries now is cardiovascular disease. Another one of the top reasons why people die in this country is stroke. And many strokes are caused by the same cause of cardiovascular disease. Maybe it's classed as the same thing in some situations, but cardiovascular disease is when the cholesterol that you eat, there's too much cholesterol in your body. It combines with bits and pieces that are in your blood and forms plaque. And that clogs up your arteries, your veins, the chambers in your heart. It gets onto the valves in the heart. It goes into all the capillaries all around your body. And then if you have enough of it in your heart region, you get a heart attack and you either die, or maybe you'll make it. Maybe you'll get lucky. You'll make it. You'll be all right. Maybe you'll need bypass surgery or, you know, some kind of operation.
Yeah.
But that's the number 1 reason why people die. You don't need to ever have cardiovascular disease if you are careful about what you eat, because it's dietary cholesterol that will cause that. Mm-hmm. And stroke, if you have plaque, cholesterol building up in the blood vessels in your brain, around your brain, then that is what causes many strokes. You don't need to do that. And I'm not going to go into all of the science on this. I am going to recommend, though, that people go and watch the documentary, What the Health. If you don't mind it being with subtitles, like in foreign languages and things, you can find it to watch for free on YouTube, What the Health documentary. And I recommend people watch that because it'll tell you how to not die from those 2 things. I recommend, if you like James Cameron, who doesn't like James Cameron movies? You know, Aliens, Avatar, Titanic, True Lies. You know, the list is very, very long. his wife came down and showed him a certain documentary about this subject, about the food you eat. And he said, right, we're making this change. And then he went out, and then they started making schools. They founded some schools in the LA area that have certain dietary guidelines, philosophies. And then he went out and made a documentary. The James Cameron produced documentary that you all need to watch is Game Changers. Is it The Game Changers or Game Changers? Go and watch The Game Changers. Watch The Game Changers, watch What the Health, okay? There are older ones which are very good, Cowspiracy, Forks Over Knives. If you would like, if the people here watching this show would like to cut out, remove two of the most probable ways that they're going to die, if you want to just protect yourself from the number one probable way you're going to die, go and watch those two movies, because you don't need to eat cholesterol. I don't eat any cholesterol, and you don't need to, and you can be extremely fit and healthy without any cholesterol in your diet. Go away and watch those documentaries. And I would also like to, we have approximately 10 minutes left. I would like to talk about another thing that we can, one, we can try and prevent, and also two, we can prepare for, and that is I'm not sure natural disasters is the right word to use anymore. I'm talking about climate-related disasters. Now, there's a lot of disinformation, misinformation about climate, but I'm a scientist, and I'm capable enough of breaking free from all of the conditioning, cultural, political, religious conditioning that I've received over the years, to actually go and look at what is the actual evidence. And the actual evidence for climate change is, well, it's enough to have proved climate change to be human-caused and serious and a big problem. When I was a kid in school, we learned about it. It was already proved back then. Now, here's a brief explanation of climate change. Some of the activities we do on this planet produce gases that are released into the atmosphere. And those are called greenhouse gases. And those greenhouse gases build up in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide and methane are the main greenhouse gases. They build up in the atmosphere. And when the sun shines in through the atmosphere, heats up the earth radiates heat back. Ordinarily, a lot of that heat just escapes away into space, and the planet maintains a natural good temperature for human beings and for other animals around us. But with these greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, they absorb a lot of that heat. And because they're then hot, yes, some of it is radiated off into space, but a lot of it is emitted back into the atmosphere and back down to us. The greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide and methane, they act as a blanket around our planet, heating up our biosphere. That heats up the biosphere, it heats up the ocean, it heats up the ground. The ocean warming up. If you've got more energy in the ocean, you're going to get stronger hurricanes, tornadoes. I always get those mixed up. It's hurricanes that go over the ocean, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's water spouts too that form on the ocean, but the hurricane will develop itself over the ocean and become super strong. And once it hits the land, it disintegrates a little bit. And then if it goes back out, it can really pick up more energy and come right on back. Yeah.
And whether it's in the land or over the ocean, you've got more heat, you've got more energy in the atmosphere. You're going to get stronger winds. You're going to have stronger evaporation, causing more drought. You're going to get more water vapor in the air. Therefore, you're going to get more rain pouring down, more flooding. You're going to get more extreme weather. Now, I'm going to show people a photo here. This is on my tour recently, just over a month ago. These are the people that participated in my contact event in Asheville, North Carolina. And it was just, this is in a city Park and close to the river. And now that is completely flooded and lives are completely devastated and destroyed. This sort of thing is happening more and more and more often. And I'm telling you, we're not making the situation better. It's getting worse and worse and worse. The levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere are going up. The level of methane in the atmosphere are going up. And if you're a person who is considerate and cares about others, I recommend, I'm not going to say you should, I'm going to recommend that if you care about stopping or minimizing the kind of disaster that we're seeing around the US now, the actions that you take, the way you live your life is will directly impact people in future events, because the lifestyle choices that we make create more or less greenhouse gases. And if you would like to minimize the impact you make on this planet, then support a move away from the use of fossil fuels to green technology. Do not be swayed by people saying that wind turbines, not windmills, that's really old technology. Wind turbines, they do not cause cancer. They do not damage the environment significantly compared to fossil fuel industry. We have had the technology for over 100 years for green, renewable technology where we don't need to be creating this problem. We don't need alien technology to save us from this problem. We don't need aliens to come and force us to do what is right. We need to move away from the use of fossil fuels. And we need to support and vote for governments whose policies are conducive to phasing out subsidies for fossil fuels and whose policies are conducive towards moving away from fossil fuels. And yes, even if it means moving away from using gas-powered vehicles towards electric or hybrid vehicles, yes, that's what we need to do. Yes, that's the right thing to do. And we need to recognize that as a reality of like an actual reality, but also a moral reality. So I know I'm talking very fast, but we are moving away towards the end of this meeting. The other thing to do is understand that our alien friends, they're telling us about this. Are you able to put into maybe just a minute, Laura, the messages that you received from one of our alien friends?
The Evens. They came, one in particular came in view in one of the meetings to me and gave me the worst images. I can't get them out of my head. Bottom line here is the world is going to be destroyed if we don't change. We have to change. And the whole world's going to burn. It's going to burn. Everything, water, it'll start with water. The hotter the planet's going to get. It's part of the process. Then there's nothing to protect Earth from the sun itself. And this picture that you see right here is one of those things that are going to happen to the point that there's nothing left of Earth. We have to, each person around the world just does one thing to change, it's going to make a massive impact on this problem. And this is a possibility, by the way. It wasn't something that was and is going to happen. The word to me, the image was, this is your possibility, and spread this information. Give this information.
So let's be clear, and I'm talking to our audience here. Aliens have contacted us, Laura and myself, in my meditations and in person on the tour. Aliens have contacted us. We know them. We know them by name. We've met two different ones by name. We know them. they have come to us and they have asked us to help spread the message that this is important. You are in communication with one of these beings, and that this is their biggest message to you. Is that correct, Laura?
This is 100% correct. Believe it or not, at this point, everyone, it's okay, it's your opinion. Be a skeptic, but I'm telling you what I experienced is real, and the message is real. And it's evident. It's evident. Look at the news. Look at the newspaper. Look at the internet. It's evident. Wake up. Wake up.
Absolutely. And I would like to, for the last minute and a half of this show, I would like to give people some suggestions. Go and watch those documentaries. What the Health, The Game Changers, Cowspiracy. If you watch those are going to teach you about how diet affects the climate as well, because it's not just the fossil fuel industry, it's certain industries, food industries, that are causing this to global warming, climate change. The one biggest thing that you could do to reduce the impacts of climate change is to change your diet. And a lot of people don't know that. Go and watch What the Health, Cowspiracy, The Game Changers. And they will tell you how to avoid things like cardiovascular disease, stroke, cancer. So many people are getting cancer, and there are obvious causes of cancer, which I don't need to name, which people can avoid. But a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the food, most people on this planet are still eating food that the World Health Organization has already told us is carcinogenic.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to be eating that food. Diabetes is also affected. There's so many of the foods that we eat are causing us to be an unhealthy, diseased, ill population. And that is all something that that's something we don't need to have. Please go away, watch those documentaries. And if you make those food choices, you also make the right choices for the climate.
That's right.
Now, we have run out of time. So I would like to thank, we had other stuff prepared, but maybe we'll do that next time. Laura, thank you so much for being here. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
Your experiences that you've shared with us, very profound, and thank you so much for doing that today.
I would like to make a shout out to Andrea Perrin. Happy birthday. We love you.
Happy birthday, Andrea. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Peace, love, and happiness to you all. Goodbye for now.
Much love.